Good morning, folks. Live from the Crescent Moon Temple. It's the morning show with your host, Tolinar. How's my volume level? It's time to play the music. Switch all of the cameras on. It's time for the morning show and I'm going it alone. Just quickly check the chat room. There is nobody home. It's time for the morning show and I'm doing it on my own. Cue stage. The host, the guest, the audience, it's what I'm here to be. There's no one even watching. It all depends on me. But that's nothing unusual. It's just another day. I'm sure that I can do it all if I do it my own way. Yeah. Double check Twitch integration. All systems good to go. One last quick mic inspection. We're fine for audio for the moment. Pick a topic to talk about. Something I probably know. Modern news is too confusion. We might go with competition or collusion. Why don't we talk about the knife of definition today? That's a good one. The host, the guest, the audience. It's what I'm here to be. There's no one even out there. This all depends on me. But that's nothing unusual. It's just another day. If I want to make my life great, I've got to do it my own way. The host, the guest, the audience, this is what I've got to be. I'm still getting dressed over here. Come on, it all depends on me. But that's nothing unusual. It's just another day. I'm sure if I can find my pants, then we're gonna be okay. Okay. Today on the morning show, we'll be discussing the knife of definition, and I am the new owner of a mansion. Woohoo! We managed to beat the base game of Blueprints. I'm gonna come up with something really cool for this, I swear. I just don't have anything right now. Maybe I'll use this for scheduling my day or something like that. The morning show is brought to you by the letter T, the number 5, and by viewers like me, because brother, I'm it. All right. Oh man, that resembles organization. How wonderful. Are we here? Oh, I think we're here. We'll back this down a little. Today is January 15th. We've reached the halfway point of the month. And it's a good day for the most part. Well, I took 2 long days off and I just sort of laid around and did nothing, destroyed a phone charger, worried about my car. You know how it goes. There's always something to do and it's not always meaningful. Anyways, we've had some connection hiccups, but for the most part, I think we're solid now. So, let me check on the morning project. I've got some yogurt cooking. It's got about 15 minutes on it, and then it'll be ready to go. I have to take the garbage out later. We'll do that as well. Okay. Make sure this is all set up. Yeah, I accidentally destroyed a phone charger after yelling at the cat not to mess with the phone charger for close to 1.5 years now. It's not the cat, but me. I end up dropping the phone at a bad angle and Crunch. Charger gets all bent out of shape. And that's the end of that. I've got fruit flies in my house now. They're kind of coexisting with me, and I'm kind of going to get rid of them. Fruit flies have exceptionally short lifespans. So if you just take away all the food, that's the end of the fruit flies. I'm pretty sure they're mostly coming from the garbage in the sink. It's fine. When I started this project some days ago, I was very intensely focused. Ooh, no wonder it's cold in here. You've lost a lot of heat overnight. I'm surprised. When I started this project some time ago, I had very specific goals. I'm capable of subsisting living in a very small space because of my upbringing. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Kentaro Sato and the Budapest Symphony Orchestra performing Stardew Valley, the soundtrack to my life. Before that, we heard Carefree Days by Katawa Shoujo. They're pretty much the only songs I play around here, but I plan to change that. But music is not the topic of the day. Let me brew some tea, and we'll talk about the knife of definition. Like, definition is a knife? What the heck is this? Is this like saying rhythm is a dancer? Are you going to make 80s music out of this? Well, I could. The definition is a knife. It's a knife. Oh, yeah. The definition is a knife. And if you wield it just right, it's a knife. Whoa. The definition is a knife. Stop it. Okay. Let's get on track here. So, the world is full of many things. A large, detailed kaleidoscope that is difficult to understand. So, we as humans, in an attempt to make things more understandable, parse it with categories. We classify things such as oranges, big fruits full of citric acid that are useful for not dying of scurvy, you know, providing necessary vitamins and minerals, and not poisonous in the slightest for the average person, you know? And we take this idea of an orange and we define its characteristics. But what if an orange is pink? Wait a minute. You're like, hang on, I think I've actually seen that in reality. Yes, Cara oranges exist. Well, that doesn't quite work because the name is orange, isn't it? And it's not orange, it's pink. Now, you can squint and pretend and be like, I think it's close enough. Well, hang on now. The truth is, citrus fruit isn't classified by its color. It's classified by its chemical composition, its makeup, the fact that you can eat it, and its nutritional value towards humanity, as well as the component set of compounds, specific floral aromatics and flavor polyphenols and things that people can tell apart in an instant from other flavors. So, if an actual orange's nature is defined by everything but its color, then the color doesn't matter very much. But if the color matters, then it's not an orange, it's a different fruit. We have to call it a pinkage or something equally awful. I don't think I want to drink a pinkage. Okay. The world is ours to define. And I don't mean ours as in humans. I mean ours as in specific individuals. Everyone can decide what to call everything. Everyone gets to choose how to divide the world up. And how you define things divides them. You're like, I don't want to divide things. Oh, but you must. If you don't make divisions, you won't be able to tell the homogeneous world apart from itself. Everything bleeds into everything else, and it's all incomprehensible without the power of definition. It is definition that lets us tell between tea and coffee, oranges and apples, arsenic and milk. Is that getting loud again? Are we doing that thing where it gets loud in the middle? I need to volume curate this playlist at some point. It's on the list of things to eventually do. There we go. And for me, one example definition is tea. Okay, I think we're okay actually. It's swelling quite a lot over here, the music, but it's okay on the internet. I think the volume level is decent. So, tea. There are many kinds of quote-unquote tea. Here I've got a bag of honey lemon ginseng tea and a bag of acai blueberry pomegranate tea and a bag of ginger snappish tea. None of them are actually teas. Here's a detox tea. This detox class tea contains licorice, chamomile, spearmint, skullcap, cardamom, cinnamon, orange, passion flower, rose hips, valerian, lavender, and stevia. See? Not tea. Why is that? Because from my classification, all tea comes from the Camellia sinensis. It is a diffusion of this plant that contains the caffeine and contains the tannins that are associated with tea. All actual tea comes from one plant and one plant only. Red tea, white tea, green tea, black tea, all of it, the leaves of the Camellia sinensis. Mostly just one genus, one family of plant, which is woody and shrubby and suited to a climate very slightly warmer than where I live, but can live here if it's babied a little bit. Camellia is a family of plants. Camellia sinensis is the tea plant. It is the member of that family that is able to produce this drink. You don't want to brew the leaves of the other ones. Mysterious things can happen. This is the one. And the definition has value. It has weight. If you take a distillation of spearmint leaves and rose hips, you end up with something that is an infusion, but not tea. You can take an infusion of Camellia sinensis leaves also. You still won't have tea. Tea leaves are fermented or possibly unfermented, then oxidized and cooked in a very specific process. Tea leaves that have the absolute minimal processing are green tea, matcha. It has a woody, heady taste, and it's raw and grassy. And that's normal. It has been cooked just enough to become tea. The tea that most of us are familiar with is black tea. It has been fermented and rolled and roasted and sometimes flavored. The result is the pungent and aromatic drink that we call tea. In the same way that you can't make coffee without coffee beans, it's just not possible. You can't make tea without tea leaves. And yet, here Ginger Snappin' is doing its best to convince you that it has made a tea based on the gingerbread cookie. Was this a good idea? No. No, it wasn't. Someone may have thought it was a good idea, and that's why it exists, but this was not a good idea. It all comes back to the knife of definition. Someone is like, okay, if we just immerse some herbs in water, we create some tea, because people, that's what they think. That's how it works. We don't need all those middle steps of roasting plants or fermenting anything. That sounds complicated. We're not going to do any of that. What we know is that ginger and lemon make for a very healthy drink when infused in water. If we take a little bit of dried lemon, which doesn't actually contain the necessary chemicals, but it's fine, and a little tiny bit of ginger, you have to be careful not to overdo it because it really does contain those chemicals. Take just a little tiny bit of ginger, a little bit of lemon, and maybe some things to dress it up, because honestly, just ginger and lemon is not going to be a fun experience for our consumer. So we're going to sneak in some lemongrass and some lemon verbena and some other natural lemon flavors and some licorice root for natural sweetness, and also some rose hips because that'll help it taste floral. And lastly, of course, just a bit of actual ginger. And we'll call that tea. It won't contain caffeine, and it won't be fermented. It won't actually be tea. It's not going to be tea, but we'll call it tea because people will use it the way we want them to use tea. We think people use tea in XYZ fashion. We want to be classified as tea, even though it's not tea. So we are going to look like a monkey and sound like a monkey to the best of our ability. It'll come in a little bag, just like ordinary black tea, and it'll come in a box, just like other teas, and we'll just stick a gingerbread house on the front of it. But look what happened to our beautiful definition. Tea, the Camellia sinensis plant, is invigorating and lively, and has supported the farming industry for centuries, if not millennia. Even farmers in the Dark Ages, before escaping the bubonic plague, knew the power of tea. They knew that drinking this invigorating beverage would give them the strength and energy they needed to complete long, hard work days in the fields and to tough out a living against the cold stones. Tea is not anachronistic. This is not a modern drink. This is an ancient one, something so useful that it has been around for a very, very, very long time. But the idea of tea is valuable. So you get boxes that contain acai and blueberry and pomegranate and maybe a little bit of green tea, or something that contains honey and lemon and ginseng and doesn't contain tea at all. And is this tea? Well, the knife of definition depends on the person. Me, no. It did not come from the camellia. Well, the one that has a little green tea in it came a little bit, so there's a little bit of tea in that. But honestly, I would call that an aberration. Acai and blueberry and pomegranate is something funky. Somebody put together a fruit drink and sprinkled tea in it. I am not impressed. That's not tea. That's something weird. Does it taste good? Now that's a different question. That's like saying, well, is this orange an apple? Well, the apple is hard-skinned, that you can eat the skin. It contains fiber. It's lumpy. It's knobby. It contains very little vitamin C. It contains very little citric acid. It's not very nutritional despite tasting good. You get a good amount of fiber, but it's mostly just sugar, as opposed to the orange. The orange is sour, and it hits the palate quite hard, and it's refreshing and cleansing. And just by consuming it, you feel healthier. And it does contain citric acid as well as ascorbic acid, and it makes you a stronger, healthier person because it wards off scurvy. Hooray for oranges. And is an apple an orange? No, it's not. But is an apple delicious? Well, yes. Apples can be quite tasty, but that doesn't make them oranges. It's the same thing with this box of herbal tea. It might be quite tasty. That doesn't mean that it's tea. Ah, there's that beeping. That beeping means my yogurt is done. Let's take a look. And let's use our knife of definition. What we have here is warm milk that contains so much lactobacillus you can smell it hovering in the air. Oh, that smells delicious, actually. Oh, that makes me hungry just standing near it. Now, I'm going to take this hot liquid, which I've classified as yogurt, despite it not being cold and not being thick, because it contains a massive amount of lactobacillus in milk cultures, and it still has the whey. It hasn't been strained either. And yet, yes, I point and say, yogurt, definitively yogurt. That is yogurt, because it ticks all the right boxes. You have to decide what defines each thing, and your definition will divide one thing from another. That's the knife of definition in a nutshell. What you choose to define the world as will separate one thing from another. Now, these separations are very useful. The fact that I know that I am looking at yogurt and not milk now, well, that's important. Milk is nutritionally interesting, but is a full and complete product with the whey and the milk still bound together, and it's not been infected with a massive amount of cultures, so it's relatively simple to drink, doesn't smell strange, doesn't look strange, doesn't have a weird texture, and if it does, we say that it's bad. When milk starts to separate, when it starts to take on unknown cultures, we say that it's spoiled. We don't know what grew in it. And if that's spoiled milk, why is this yogurt? Because this underwent a long, careful fermenting process. For 8 hours this sat and accrued lactobacillus that I inoculated into it. I gave it that lactobacillus carefully. And now I'm going to modify it some more carefully. First, I'm going to take 12 ounces of French vanilla syrup and pour it straight on in. Beautiful. So I've got a half gallon of yogurtified milk. It's yogurt at this point because the lactobacillus have multiplied like crazy. And the smell and the appearance all sell the fact that it's yogurt, although it's warm. It's warmer than I would expect yogurt to normally be. So I'm going to add the syrup into that. Clever it again, because fruit flies. I don't want fruit flies in my yogurt. Good God, get out. Then I'm going to come in here and grab a coffee. I've got a box of coffees for grabbing right here. Starbucks cold brew concentrate, signature black. Good. I'll just pop this open. And this is coffee. Why do I think this is coffee? Because it was produced from coffee beans. It wasn't produced from coffee beans in the conventional way. This is cold brew concentrate. But because it came from coffee beans, and it tastes vaguely like coffee, it's coffee for me. Now, a purist will take one look at that and say, no, that's not coffee. That was not heat brewed. It wasn't put through a press. There's a million things wrong with that. From the tannin count to the flavor, that's not coffee. But for me, it's close enough. Just like for someone, these herbal boxes of teas, well, that's close enough. You know, it's something you drink. It has a hot water thing going for it. It's smells like coffee. Okay. Now, it's remarkable how much your nose influences your decision of what things are and are not. So now we'll add the coffee in. I'll take the whisk and very gently mix this concoction together as I craft something new. So I have combined coffee and yogurt and French vanilla syrup into a thin brown liquid, trying to get every last bit of this yogurt off the sides of my pot. There we go. And now I'm going to funnel it. I'm going to funnel it straight on into my milk container. You see, I have a container of milk that is half full sitting in the fridge, waiting to receive this baby. Now, it's not going to hold it all, I don't think. So we're going to have to get creative. I have a feeling this stuff is about to go everywhere. Ooh, and it is separating a little. I don't think I like that. We're going to whisk it again. I don't want it to separate. I was hoping it would stay homogeneous. But we'll see what happens. This may require some blending. Okay. We'll try mixing it into the other half of the milk, as I usually do. I make lassi, which is half and half milk yogurt all the time. But this idea is a new one. I'm crafting something new and creative by mixing together syrup, coffee, and milk and yogurt. And now we're going to funnel it back into the milk and chill it. Why would I go through all the steps? Why am I doing something so complicated? Well, part of it's being creative, and part of it is forging something of high value from something of low value. That's the essence of food processing. Basics of the basics when it comes to food processing is turning a low value product into a high value product through processing. In this case, I have taken half a bottle of French vanilla, 1 bottle of coffee concentrate, 1 gallon of milk, and 1 ordinary sized yogurt. Turned the ordinary sized yogurt into a half gallon of yogurt using the milk. Now I am pouring off this unusual mixture. I added sweeteners to it. I think that's what we're going to get right there. Okay, good. And then the rest is just going to go in this cup. And do I want it to be this cup? I'd rather not use the same cup that has the sweetener. It'll get way too sweet. I want an accurate flavor profile for this. So I need a new cup. Let me find a cup that can hold 12 ounces really fast. Where's my blue cup? Can't find my blue cup in the moment. Well, here it is. Looks kind of suspicious. We're going to give it a quick clean before I use it. Is my mic on? Let's make sure. Good. Okay. Because I've had mic off problems for a while now. I'm always paranoid now. Is my microphone off again? So, there we go. Give that a good scrubbing. We'll hose that down. And now we're going to add the remainder of this stock pot into my cup. And here's what I get to drink this morning. Whether it's any good or not, I don't know. We'll find out in a moment. I threw this together using supposition, okay? I have been making lassi for a while. I was like, suppose we take lassi, which involves adding about 12 ounces of sweetener. We very slightly reduce the sweetener from 14 to 12 ounces, which is a very slight reduction. And then we were to mix it with yogurt instead of milk. And then with the coffee and the milk and the yogurt, it might create something very good, something invigorating for breakfast. I hope that it does. We will see what actually happened now. What did we actually get? Okay, because now I've got 2 containers of it and they're going to go chill in the fridge. So hopefully it's good because I'm stuck with it. I just created it. It's born. It's done. But how does it taste? It smells interesting. Here we go. The French vanilla has blended in. It's very different. It's very different. I've made something outside of definition. It's not coffee or yogurt or anything in between. This isn't lassi, because I know what lassi tastes like, and it's not this. Lassi doesn't contain this many tannins. It's not slightly bitter. It's not coffee. Coffee's not sour like this. It also doesn't taste as healthy as this either. It doesn't taste bad. It's just very different. I've created something entirely new. I took 2 separate parts of things that shouldn't be combined, and I put them together because I'm like, this will work, watch me. Well, it worked. I have created a new breakfast drink, a mixture of half and half coffee and yogurt, using French vanilla as a catalyst. And it's good, but it's different. But it's good, but it's different. I don't know what to call this. This is outside my knife. I can classify coffee because of what's in it, and how it tastes and how it smells. And I can classify yogurt by what's in it, and how it tastes and how it smells. And I can classify both of them by how they're made. But now I've introduced new steps. I have created something from the parts of a coffee and the parts of a yogurt and some extra magic that doesn't look or taste like either of them. I've made something entirely different from yogurt and coffee. And I don't have a name for it. The knife of definition that I use says, no, this isn't coffee and it isn't yogurt. It's something delicious and I like it and it's invigorating and it feels healthy and I'm glad I drank it, but I don't know what I just drank. It's something crying out for a name. And there are people who will see me create this and say, oh, that's coffee. You just added yogurt to it. And people who will see this and say, oh, that's yogurt. You just put coffee in it. But it's become something else. Fusing these two together has created a whole greater than the sum of its parts. Like assembling a hamburger takes meat and cheese and lettuce and all the separate parts and creates a hamburger. Here, combination of separate things has resulted in a drink that is smooth and easy to drink with no bitterness, but some of the tannins of coffee that makes you feel alert and awake. and feels healthy, like it's not going to be a burden on the stomach. I don't know how it will taste when it's cold. I don't know anything about it yet. Hopefully it won't turn my stomach. It should be fine. Given the ingredients that went into it, it should be fine. If I die of poisoning all of a sudden, well, that'll be a surprise for the world, and everyone will then know not to put yogurt and coffee together. And probably get a little bit more cautious about both of them. But it's all the more likely that I will be fine. But now I have a problem. I have created something beyond definition. So I have to come up with a new name. The world is often beyond definition, and we do our darndest to try and squeeze everything in. We try to classify everything. Oh, that's a candy. That's a dog. And this is a cat. Yes, this is a cat. And our definitions are flexible. A cheetah is a type of cat. A cheetah is kind of like a big house cat, really. Oh, it's large and intimidating, but when it gets near a person, it's more scared than anything else. Because of the nature of a cheetah. It's fast and light, but not really that heavy. And it's not really the king of the Serengeti. A lion doesn't treat a human like a human at all. A lion knows it's the master. It knows it's the business end. A lion knows it can kill a man in a flash, and so it doesn't respect men the same way. It'll eat a man if it gets the chance. A cheetah will act like a house cat around a man because it understands that men are threats to it. Even though it probably has enough speed and power to kill us, it can't be sure of that. Too many other things on the plains can kick its ass. It knows better. So a cheetah can be considered a house cat by behavior. This drink, coffee, and yogurt, has more in common with tea than anything else, in that it's been fermented. But it doesn't come from the camellia plant, so it's not tea. And it involves lactobacillus cultures, so it's not coffee. And it involves coffee beans, so it's not yogurt. I have given birth to something new. Let's ask Google. The Vietnamese have done this before. Google says, you don't understand. This is really common in Vietnam. It's called Sua Chua. Sua Chua is half and half coffee and yogurt. What you've done has been discovered by someone else, and they have a definition. They have a knife for this. Vietnamese yogurt coffee gets better if you add sweetened condensed milk to it. Although it's supposed to be marbled and bittersweet and refreshing. But, like so many other things, it's one of those things where a definition comes down to personality. Sometimes they add honey or chocolate to it. But just as often, they dump yogurt and coffee together and say, good to go, let's roll with it. Yes, Vietnam is familiar with coffee yogurt. It's remarkably simpler. Now, Vietnamese coffee is usually a dark, oily roast. So yeah. I chose French vanilla syrup. I should have used sweetened condensed milk. But if you Google it, you can see that many other people have stumbled onto this specific combination of coffee and yogurt. And only the Vietnamese have bothered to create a knife definition for it. Xoa Xua. It's sweet, it's tart, it's a bit addictive, it smells good. Yeah, it's definitely something new and different. And I can see how people can make bowls out of this stuff or do all sorts of things. So my combination, despite being unique to me, was known to someone else in the world. And that's the way it goes, you know? Not everything you do in life is going to be a brand new experience for the universe. The universe says, oh, you think you're the first person to dump their coffee in the yogurt to see what happens next? No, son. You are far from the first. So let's ask Google, when was Xoa Xua invented? So this was actually a relatively recent evolution. The French colonized Vietnam in the 19th century. They introduced yogurt to Vietnam at that time. Fresh milk was scarce, so Vietnamese people used sweetened condensed milk. More durable it was to make yogurt. And Xoa Xua actually just means sour milk. Da Hua is a transliteration of yogurt. So, Xoa Xua, which I'm probably butchering its presentation, that's often frozen into tubes, and it is now here's an interesting one. Xoa Xua is the name for Vietnamese yogurt, not Vietnamese yogurt coffee. Xoa Xua Cafe. So this term, Xoa Xua, actually just means Vietnamese yogurt. So they didn't have a name for it either. They're very familiar with it. This is very commonly done. But actually, their solution was to just call the whole thing yogurt. So they didn't come up with an answer either. Despite being faced with something new and creative and great, they couldn't come up with a unique name for it. Well, that's a shame. Maybe I still will come up with a name for it then. The rules of definition are self-created, but require acknowledgement from the rest of the world. So, whatever I make, whichever I choose, whatever name I give this yogurt coffee, someone from Vietnam will look at that and say, that's Xoa Xua Cafe. I know what that is. You can't fool me. We make that all the time. But I'm still butchering pronunciation over here, but we're all right. We can have a little more volume on the background music, slightly more. There we go. Because it's depressingly quiet in the background there. Well, not go crazy, but that's better. Okay. So, the knife of definition. This is important for reasoning and understanding. The purpose of the knife of definition is to understand the world quickly. It's meant to compartmentalize the world, because if you were constantly trying to digest the world in its raw gestalt format, it becomes overwhelming. There's too much going on at all times. If you pause and examine the world around you, it is full of intense 3D geometric shapes of all the different things around you. A landscape, mysterious and barren, of singular objects which can be physically manipulated. Some things easy to control, other things hard to control. Some things edible, some things inedible. And you're forced to exist in this landscape. To make it possible, we use definition. This strange, hard, cylindrical object protruding here is not actually attached to the wooden frame that it is sitting on. And if I go and use my hand, I can pick it up and move it away from the wood. This ceramic cylinder is what we call a coffee mug. I have a definition for it. But if I pause and consider it for what it is, it seems it has seen some wear, but it is still in excellent shape. I've held this in my hand for many years, this one object. And becoming more familiar with it feels almost strange. Holding it like this, giving it the attention that it can have. There's hairs on the lip, that's from my cat, and grains of tea in the bottom, which filtered out from the tea that I made just a minute ago. The coffee yogurt was in the other cup. If you add coffee to milk, you get a latte. What happens if you add coffee to yogurt? You get something yumpy. This object, the mug, I have it classified because I use it all the time. This is a handy tool for me, and I like it quite a bit, even as it starts to feel cool in my fingers. I want it to be warm and friendly with me. The handle is comfortable to hold, just very slightly thin, but easy to manipulate, and the structure is nice and stable. It's held many things. It's never chipped or cracked. And there's a picture of 2 chickens on the front of it, wrapped all the way around in a comforting fashion. It is a simple white mug. One could even say it's an ordinary coffee cup, not even completely a mug, because a mug has a slightly thicker frame. But this cup has done more than its share for me. And I may still use it for many decades yet. I don't remember when I received this cup. Maybe if I think hard, I can go back to it. This cup, it entered service in my life just after I fled the domestic violence incident. This was one of a number of pieces of dishware in my parents' house at that time when they were living with their grandparents, with my grandparents, not theirs. And I took it from them, right? No, wait. This was a gift. This was a gift during Christmas. It was probably one of those little pretty mug sets, but the mug itself has held up wonderfully. It is labeled on the bottom. It seems this is local work. Let's take a look at the bottom. I've never really looked. This mug was made in 1887. by a company called Kent Pottery. Sometimes we use definitions to make it possible to learn more about something easily. Kent Pottery is not made locally, it is made in England. What I have here is bone china, and I had no idea. I just thought, you're a good old mug, and I'm going for it. This is a hand-painted mug, ceramic, is vintage, having been crafted in 1887. It's probably worth about $25, maybe a little less than that. It's not exceptionally valuable, but it has a history and it has honor. And definition, it looks like it's porcelain. So, survey says it's not ceramic, it's porcelain. And it's Britain. This is a proper British cup, mug. Bone china, porcelain, something. I'm not sure what the difference is between bone china and porcelain. Let's ask. The good thing about definition is it can facilitate knowledge. What's the difference between bone china and porcelain? So bone china is a type of porcelain that includes animal bone ash that makes it thin, translucent, and warmer, giving it an ivory tone. Porcelain traditionally uses only clay and minerals and tends to be brighter white, denser, and heavier, but equally or more chip resistant. Bone ash adds strength, allowing for thin, delicate designs while remaining strong and dishwasher safe. So this cup that has been versatile with its nice thin handle and its tough personality is bone china from Kent Pottery in Britain. It was born in 1887. There's something written here that my eyes can't quite see. Allow me to use my phone like a magnifying glass. Even my eyes have their limit. It's difficult to make out because, what's with that? Hey, focus! Focus! You had it! Godinger and Company. For over 50 years, Godinger Silver Art Company has specialized their handcrafted silver pewter crystalline. No, I want to see Godinger and Company. Specifically. Now this is unusual. Godinger and Company is an American company that was created in 1973. So the fact that this is marked Godinger and Company suggests that this was not crafted in 1887, but was a look-alike crafted by someone else. 1887 Go Dinger. So which is it? I find myself falling down a rabbit hole of understanding exactly where my chicken cup came from. Here it is. So the farmhouse chicken cup is worth $7. It is a mug, according to the universe. And it was manufactured in 2010. So the labeling on the bottom, Kent Pottery 1887, it's a look-alike. Oh, right. It's playing that because the show's over. Well, the knife of definitions, you can see, runs deep and can encompass many important points. Sometimes the more you explore about something, the more you realize it's not what you thought it was. But be careful about how you define things, because other people can use that to gain more knowledge about their own lives. Thank you for watching. I've got more research to do, and I'll talk to you next time.